Okay.
Hi.
Okay, all right, and the floor is yours.
Hey. So this is my first panel, so please forgive me, just in case. So I'm going to begin by introducing everyone. So is it possible for us to introduce by ourselves, or I should do the honors?
Gigi, we are running out of time.
Okay.
So I'm sure everyone's names is there. So what we can do is that as they answer the questions, they can just introduce themselves. Okay. That'll make it faster. Our guest speaker is waiting. You know, we're running behind schedule. Yeah. Okay, so let's just go straight into the questions. There are questions in the Q&A section. All right.
So let's have one.
All right.
This first question goes to Mary. What's your advice on going for data science internships, as virtual learning can become boring and dropping out is inevitable at times?
Okay. Please, can you repeat the question? I want to get the last one.
Okay, so what's your advice on going for data science internships, as virtual learning can become boring and dropping out is inevitable at times?
Okay. I would say virtual science internship, it is better for you to go for virtual internship. Why? Internship are project-based. You can't compare it to learning using, what's it called, using learning virtually. Yes, I have been there, so I know that it can be boring, like the like the speaker said, you know, or like the what's it called said. So there's so many virtual internships that you can go for. Although I'm not going to mention, so that it won't be as if I'm advertising them, because there was one I advertised, and later on it eventually turned out that they were in affiliation with UK. That was what we heard, and later on it turned out that they were not in affiliation with UK. But just look for good virtual internship that you can do. There's lots of them, you know, Google, you know, the ones that has name, and you learn a lot because it's project based. It's not like the other one. It's not like the other one, virtual learning, that you just have a project. You just have one capstone project, you know. Yeah. So it's good. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Hannah. Okay, so we have another question for Grace. What are examples of specific ways you can market yourself as an app creator?
Thanks. That's a really good question. So what I would do, I think, first of all, I would definitely be on Twitter. And maybe what you could do, just an idea, you could do something like, okay, decide, you know what, I'm going to create maybe a very simple app, like maybe a note app, yeah? And you put in the hashtag build in public. So build in public is a hashtag for people who are creating software. And what they do is like, they sort of share their daily progress. So you can sort of do that and sort of share the hashtag build in public, and then, you know, create and show the progress of creating like a very simple app. That's one way of getting your name out there. Another thing is just to go and start talking to sort of like small to medium businesses, because those are the kind of, when you're trying to get into the industry, that's sort of level you sort of be looking at for your first role. Obviously, you won't stay there. So small to medium businesses, you can go and talk, even, you know, head down to the market. You know, there's some really enterprising, you know, those women that sort of sell, you know, wrapper and everything for all these events. Maybe one of them might want a mobile app. So when she comes back from wherever it is, Holland, wherever they get their clothes from, you can just maybe make an app for her that she just photographs the print, and then she can send it all to all her clients, you know. So it's like, you just find ideas for people who don't have apps. You make an app for them, businesses as well. And for your first job, I'll sort of say, you must get paid for it, because one thing is, like, when a client pays you for something, they also take the project more seriously. But I wouldn't be too concerned about, as long as it's a reasonable amount, I wouldn't be too concerned about, you know, how much that first job is. So as long as you get the foot in the door, but just be proactive, go and approach people rather than waiting for them to come to you, is what my advice would be.
Hey, thank you. I hope that answers your question, Kemi. We have another question from Kem. Do you have a specific person, or do I just throw it because she didn't direct it to any particular person? Do you have any tips for finding and connecting with a good mentor? Could one person volunteer to take this, please?
I can pick this one if it's okay. I think first of all, mentorship it's a two-way street. So it's very important when you find a mentor to make sure that you have a click with it. It's not just a tick in the box. And having said that, to find or connect with a mentor, it's very important to first of all find programs. And there is a program as part of this conference, and I'm sure the facilitators will say more about the steps and how you guys can register. But then also you can find a mentor if you are already employed in your day-to-day jobs. Like for instance, let's say you've been to a conference or you've seen a speech and you feel a connection to the person that delivered the speech. Feel free to reach out to that person to seek for advice, for guidance, because oftentimes people are very happy to give back of what they have and learned. So it goes on LinkedIn, of the various conferences you go. So really use every networking event and opportunities that you guys have, but don't make it just a check in the box. Really try to make it, was there really a click or connection? Were you inspired by someone giving a speech? Is that something that you guys feel like opening up to? Because in mentorship, it's very important. It's a journey. It's very important that you are also willing to open up, to give away, to be really open to explore, to expand yourself. And the mentor will only be able to guide you, but the transformation really happens with you. So that's why it's important that you feel very comfortable with the mentor that you are seeking. So your mentor could be in your company, could be outside in your network, could be part of your friends or your group, could be post a conference or a tech event. So mentors could be everywhere, but it's more a question: do I click? Do I resonate with this person?
That's really insightful advice. Thank you, Anamaria. Thank you so much for that. So we have another question. It's not particularly directed to anyone, but I think maybe Ronke will be in a good place to answer this because it's about like transitioning from a non-computer science degree to tech. So it's the question from Nelson. How can someone with a non-tech undergraduate degree transition into a tech postgraduate degree? I studied agricultural economics and would like to entirely transition into tech field without having to continue with my postgraduate studies in agriculture.
Yeah, well, this is a very broad question, really. And again, when you say you want to transition in tech, I think the first step is to identify what you actually want to do. Because depending on what you want to do, I think what I would do is I would reach out to people who are already in that field that I want to transition to. And that will be different people depending on if I want to go into data sciences or if I want to go into, like, for example, what I'm doing, cybersecurity. I would approach different people and I would talk to them and try to understand if there is what the first steps would be to take into that. So the question here is about the person wants to do a postgraduate degree in tech, I understand. And the question is that even necessary? What is it what you want to achieve? Maybe it would make more sense to go on the boot camp for a couple of weeks and get the skills you need for that specific field of tech you're looking for. So there is no general answer how to switch into tech. I think find out what you want to do and then approach maybe one of the panelists here who is working in that field and have a discussion there, or find someone at your university who is in that field and talk to them and understand what the skills are that are required to actually go into that field. So that would be my answer here.
Okay, thank you so much. So we don't have any other questions. And I think at this point, thank you so much for all your answers. Thank you so much for being on our panel. So I think we're moving on to the next segment. So I'll leave it for Omolara to come and continue from where we stopped.